I now call to order the Planning Commission meeting for Goochland County for May the 15th, 2025. Ms. Morton, do we have a quorum?
Yes, sir, Mr. Cosby, we have a quorum.
Thank you very much. We will now stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and then followed by the invocation.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for another beautiful day here in Goochland County. We thank you for the freedom to gather together tonight, and we pray that our time here tonight is beneficial, civil, and productive. We thank you for the citizens of this great county and their engagement in the planning process. We thank you for the businesses here tonight who work with our local government to make Goochland a great place to live and work. Finally, we thank you for gathering us here safely and give us traveling mercies on the way home. It is in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Has everyone had the opportunity to read the minutes from the April 17th, 2025 meeting?
Yes, and I approve of the motion.
So we have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
We have a proper motion on the floor and second. Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. McLaughlin,
Aye.
Ms. Kowalski,
Aye.
Mr. Cosby,
Aye.
Mr. Patuk,
Aye.
Mr. Kimmery.
Aye.
Under Director's Report and Announcements, we have the Director's Update provided by Ms. Jamie Sherry.
Thank you, Ms. Morton. Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission, reading from the screen, at the June 3rd Board of Supervisors meeting, there will be no planning and zoning public hearings. There will, however, be a public hearing related to placing no through truck signs in the Parkside Village area. There are multiple signs that are under consideration. Then moving on to the June 17th Planning Commission meeting, there will be 3 public hearings that are scheduled. In District 4, there's an application by Travis Johnson. This is for a conditional use permit for a short-term rental unhosted. Then in District 5, there's an application by Benedictine Society of Virginia, Benedictine Schools, to amend a conditional use permit pertaining to occupancy of both St. Gertrude and Benedictine Schools. In District 3, there's an application by David Jeanette, also known as its project name, Serenity Trail. The request is to rezone from agricultural to residential preservation to create a residential subdivision. For the June 17th meeting, it should be noted that this will be held on the Tuesday of our regular meeting day. Our regular meeting day does fall on Juneteenth, and then Wednesday is the Economic Development Authority's normal meeting date, so we will be meeting the 17th of June, which is a Tuesday. We have no community meetings scheduled at this time. There was a lot last month, so I anticipate a lot of applications moving forward, but to date we do not have any. And I just wanted to give you an update on both the utility master plan and the park and rec master plan that we heard from the project managers in our last meeting. They're both scheduled to be finishing up the draft documents this summer, and then going to be under consideration by the board sometime in the fall. And that concludes my update.
Thank you. Ms. Morton.
Citizen comment period. Per the Planning Commission's bylaws, Section 4, addressing the Commission public comments. All persons who speak before the Commission during the citizen comment period or public hearing shall do so from the lectern and furnish their names and addresses to the Commission. A speaker shall only speak once on any item unless the Commission asks the speaker to answer questions. No person may address the Commission unless they have first been recognized by the chair. Each person who desires to speak shall be given time to present oral or written comments. Comments shall be directed to the Commission, not the audience. The citizen comment period provides a public forum for the Commission to hear from citizens about matters pertinent to the activities, issues, or policies of the commission. The citizen comment period is limited to matters that are not scheduled for public hearing on tonight's agenda.
Thank you. And if you wish to speak during this citizen comment period, please come forward and state your name and address, and you will have 3 minutes. As you see on the lectern, there are some globes. Those are actual lights. The green light indicates that you can start, and you will have 3 minutes. The yellow light indicates that you have 1 minute remaining, and the red light indicates that your time has expired. Is there anyone who wants to come forward?
It's green, so I can speak, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Linda Moore, 2164 Prophet Road, Mannequin Sabbath. I have shared with you all in several emails my concern about the process that for the pre-application. I sent you numerous emails. My problem with it is there is no comment from the schools, utilities, or, or agricultural. And I have a problem with that because I've been dealing with this for 11 years, and I understand that after the fact, they find out what is wrong when they go to the plan of development. And then it starts to snowball, and then next thing you know, you've got proffer amendments, you've got waivers that need to be put in place. This is not any way to do it. This policy that was put in place, or procedure, was so that we could catch it before, in the review section, before it gets approved. And I just don't quite understand it. Like I said, once we find out what's going on, it's too late. It's already been approved. So I would hope that we could work collectively on making sure that we have all the information available so that you can make an informed decision on what is actually at that property. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thank you. Anyone else?
This is citizens' comment time. This is only for citizen comment.
It's a citizen comment period. Anyone else just speaking on something other than the case tonight? Being no others, I will close the citizen comment period. Ms. Morton, do we have any unfinished business?
There is no unfinished business.
Do we have any new business?
There is no new business.
Do we have any requests to defer, any additions, deletions, or change to the order of public hearings?
We have no requests to defer, additions, deletions, or changes to the order of public hearing.
All right, thank you.
First item on the agenda tonight, application by Markel Eagle Advisors, LLC, Project Highfield, requesting to rezone 138.52 acres from Agricultural Limited, A2, to Residential Plan Unit Development, RPUD, with proffered conditions for residential subdivision on 2114 Rockville Road on tax map number 4730B1 and a portion of 2106 Rockville Road on tax map number 4730B0. The comprehensive plan designates this area as single-family residential medium density.
Thank you. Good evening, members of the commission, Mr. Chairman. This item before you, again, is a rezoning with proffered conditions. It is in District 4, seeking to go from Agricultural Limited A2 to our PUD with proffered conditions. What we've provided here on the screen to start off with is the vicinity map that was be on the left-hand side. The red circle shows the general vicinity of this location, which is south of I-64 on the west-bound side of Rockville Road. The property itself that's subject to this is on the southern portion of Rockville Road. It does include as well this small additional piece of property within inside those boundaries that are outlined in red. The property itself, as we stated, is currently A2 under zoning. Should be noted that the request is for our PUD. It is directly adjacent to the Tuckahoe Bridge development, which is also zoned our PUD. The comprehensive plan does designate this area as single-family residential medium density, as do the properties to the south. The properties to the west are rural enhancement, and across the street, across Roebucker Road, is prime economic development. So just a quick little shot at what we're here for to see tonight. Again, our PUD zoning. There are proffered conditions that relate to a single-family residential development with 138 lots. There is included a conceptual plan that we'll look at that has layout and road connections. There are entrance features that included each road to include the connecting road with Tuckahoe Bridge, a variety of road improvements in front of the property, as well as implementing the recommendations of the VDOT Rockville Road Safety Study, elevations and materials, which has become a common proffer in our residential developments these days. What's unique to this one is this additional proffer regarding residential fire suppression systems in each dwelling unit, and that was in relation to relief to the remoteness, amendment of the remoteness requirements for the development under fire code, and our standard cash proffer under our capital impact model. The comprehensive plan does designate this property as single-family residential medium density, and the comprehensive plan, it does equate to a development where lots have an average lot size of 1 acre. This development is proposing lots that have a complete density, the development itself is at a density of 1 lot per acre. That's become pretty common with different RPUDs we've seen over different years, to include Tuckahoe Bridge itself is a development that had the same comprehensive plan designation, and it has 98 lots on 98.225 acres. So again, a density of 1 lot per acre. We had 3 community meetings for this development starting back in January of 2024. 117 residents the first time that were there. There was comments related to the development's impact on the existing schools and roads. What improvements need to be done on Rockville, the connectivity, status of Rockville Road and the Ashland Road intersection, buffers, lot sizes, house sizes, and a variety of other type things. There were concerns about the uses of other vacant lands in the area. Should be noted this original meeting came forward with a 199 lot proposal. Later in the year, in April, the applicant did come back with a proposal at 138 lots. The comments at that time continue to be similar to what were done before, but questions about schools, fire services, roads, what improvements will be done, what's the impact on Tuckahoe Bridge Section 2 itself, buffers and comments regarding the existing intersection of Rockville Road and North Tuckahoe Bridge, which was a concern at that time and is ongoing. And then a third meeting was held in January of this year. The applicant had made their application in December, but wanted to have one more community meeting with the community to go over and have a chance to see if there was other changes they could make. At that time, there was submitted additional improvements for Rockville Road, discussion regarding the potential closure or temporary closure of Rockville Road, updated traffic impact analysis. Again, then similar concerns that we had in regards before concerning overdensity, style of housing, and the desire to try to get some sort of turn at the southern entrance or the existing entrance to Tuckahoe Bridge. So what we have on the screen is the conceptual plan submitted by the applicant. Should be noted that there are 3 entrances into the property. There are 2 on Rockville Road, and there's an additional one that's an existing stub road, Osborne Road, I believe is the name of it, that is already existing inside of Tuckahoe Bridge. That is a required connection for public roads for that. I think we talked about maybe something in the staff report realized that it doesn't meet spacing. Both his entrances on Rockville Road do meet the required spacing. In addition, along Rockville Road, there is a 100-foot buffer. That's consistent with the buffer that's along along Rockville Road for Tuckahoe Bridge. The ordinance only requires a 50-foot buffer. There's additionally a 150-foot buffer along I-64. Typically in our PUD, being a perimeter buffer, there would be a 35-foot buffer along I-64. There are generally larger lots in the western half of the subdivision, and the lots adjacent to Tuckahoe Bridge, which are the lots down here, they have the same lot width and general same lot area size as those within Tuckahoe Bridge. There is an existing buffer within Tuckahoe Bridge of 35 feet. That is a required buffer when you have an RPUD adjacent to an agricultural property. In this circumstance, the proposed Highfield development is going to be adjacent to an RPUD. It does not have to have a buffer between the two, but the applicants have proposed a landscape easement of 35 feet within that area. Should also be noted that if you see these green areas, those are the floodplain. There is a significant floodplain area to the western part of the property the applicants have proffered, which has become typical that we see in developments, is to try to exclude the floodplains within the lot boundaries. Exhibit B of the proffers does show that there's going to be entrance features at each road connection to include the one at Tuckahoe Bridge subdivision. And when we have these type entrance features, it's a quality improvement for developments to help give direction and stand out, give neighborhood identity for those. It also acts as a traffic calming measure where you start seeing more visibility where people see these entrances. They're well demarcated. In this case, they'll additionally have lighting for those. And then there isn't a feature between the two developments. I know at one time there was concern about potential speed through that area. This area doesn't have houses fronting it. They have houses that are abutting it on the side. For the stub road, when you have the traffic, the signage and everything like that, it's observed notice about you're entering a new area. There are additional off-site road improvements with this application. There are improvements to Rockville Road along the frontage of the subject property. This will include like road grading improvements, adjustment of the road topography, and the visibility issues that were prevalent with the Tuckahoe Bridge entrance that had been spoken about before. I'll go through these improvements to the best of my ability. I expect the applicant would probably, and their engineer may be able to explain it better than Ray, the non-engineer. So we have up here on the screen, in the proffer, there's this exhibit that provides a layout of this. The top one is existing conditions. We did add just an arrow here to show you that this is heading towards Ashland Road versus towards 64 in this screen. Generally, the idea is to continue the existing eastern side lane that actually goes across 64. Adjust the southbound travel lane and install shoulders on the applicant side of the road. Include a paved median, and that's basically continuing the improvements as they come outside of Tuckahoe Bridge up for that. And then you're basically recreating the lane heading towards on the west side of the pavement. Additionally, there would also be pruning trees within the eastern right-of-way. They'd be installing the right turn lanes and then install the left turn lane that is proposed. There is additionally concern during the public hearings about visibility as you come off of I-64 and generally in Rockville in the area. Much of the right-of-way is overgrown. It's hard to tell where right-of-way starts, but when you're driving down that road, the right-of-way goes a good distance off of Rockville Road itself. So on the opposite side of the property, they're proposing the additional clearing of trees, pruning and additional clearing to help improve that visibility as you head up to and from crossing 64. So the applicant has also proffered to fill and cut portions of the road along the frontage of the subject property and a portion in front of the Tuckahoe Bridge subdivision. There is in this roadway, which part of it was what led to some of the concerns and improvements in the Tuckahoe Bridge development itself, is some sightline visibility issues. What they're proposing to do for this is actually to grade down portions of the Rockville Road itself to try to smooth out those issues, those bumps that are causing the sight distance issues. It's a strange circumstance where part of it, and if you're looking far out and looking at a car far away, you see it. You lose it as you get closer in there because of these small bumps where smaller cars could disappear within that visibility. They're proposing to grade that section down. To do that, unfortunately, will require road closure temporarily of Rockville Road to do so. And those improvements, the areas of where they're doing those repairs is lined up in this box here. As I mentioned before, the applicant did propose elevations, also become a standard proffer with our residential type developments. As part of these elevations proposed, there is a limitation on the materials that can be proposed. The intent is generally more durable materials, something that considered brings an element of quality to that long term for the development, and they're listed up on the screen here. So again, revisiting the proffers of where we are, there's the conceptual plan. In addition, there's a proffer related to the primary construction entrance being from Mockville Road, so we're not directing traffic, construction traffic through the existing Tuckahoe Bridge development. Again, the 100-foot buffer along Rockville, 150-foot buffer adjacent to I-64 entrance features as we went through the road improvements. In addition to the road improvements that we talked about, they're also going to implement the recommendations of the VDOT Rockville Road Safety Study, which really related to signage in certain areas, some signage related to speed, and some other improvements. Again, these are all off-site improvements being done by the applicant. All roads in the development will be 56 feet in right-of-way. That is our current access management requirements that allows for parking on both sides of the road. That standard actually exceeds the base VDOT standards for public roads in residential development, and also meets our fire code. The only part of this, the reason they did the proffer is because that existing connector road between Tuckahoe Bridge and the new development is at 50 feet right away currently, because Tuckahoe Bridge was developed before under a different standard. You cannot, within a same segment of road, have two varying right-of-way widths or pavement designs, so that section will have to remain 50 feet. We talked about elevations, we talked about the residential fire systems, the lot width. So when we start talking about construction timing here, is the applicant has proffered that there would be no construction of new dwelling units until after January 1st, 2027, and the reference to the floodplains outside light, and again, the cash proffer. So we have a few outstanding concerns in addition to what's has been shared by the chief, fire chief, regarding his concerns about the overall safety of the Rockville Road area. Was a request for a turn lane waiver. And as you know, as we went through this last year, and we've seen in several cases, our ordinance does require for a major subdivision that you would have both left and right turn lanes at entrances. The applicant has proffered the improvements to Rockville Road, which would include constructing a right turn lane access at the southernmost entrance into the property. And again, that's the one that's up closest to Tuckahoe Bridge. They've requested a waiver through the proffer to that turn lane requirement, which is an expectation if you're asking for relief. They've offered in that proffer, and this gets a little confusing, they're asking for a waiver, but they do say they would construct that left turn lane if they can acquire the additional right-of-way. Now, typically in a scenario when an applicant wants to request additional right-of-way, say they can't do it because of right-of-way, we say, then you need to go find the right-of-way or ask for the waiver. In this situation, Tuckahoe Bridge actually has a 100-foot buffer as well for that, and the existing right-of-way that would be needed to get that improvement, which is generally to carry the improvements all the way down to Tuckahoe Bridge entrance itself. They would have to obtain that right-of-way from the Tuckahoe Bridge development. Could be through the HOA or whatever the timing is. Unfortunately, with that zoning condition, which is a proffered 100-foot buffer, and the dedication of right-of-way that came with that, there would need to be a proffer amendment of the Tuckahoe Bridge zoning. So that's something that actually would take action of whoever the current owner or developer or the HOA of the Tuckahoe Bridge Section 2 development would have to request that, or it could, we could try to do that, implement it through the county trying to take action to amend the proffer, and then the dedication of right-of-way would have to come from that entity. So the applicant is saying they're willing to do that within 2 months after tentative approval, and again, that could be several months away or whatever the timing is. So this is a little bit different circumstance than what we often see when there's a request to left turn lane, so I thought I'd explain a little bit more than a standard request. Additionally, there is, if you, in the staff report, staff does outline some concerns about the landscaped area, a preserved landscape area that's being proposed in those lots adjacent to Tuckahoe Bridge. As stated before, they're not required to provide a 35-foot buffer in this scenario, but they have proposed a vegetated area to be preserved on private lots. This area would be maintained by the HOA, but staff does have concern when you impose certain conditions on private lots because that affects people's usability of their property they're paying for, as well as, from my experience, that's also a very difficult enforcement action to take against individual homeowners for something that's really a shared community asset. The reference in the staff report and had been concerned before that have been discussed in community meetings is really what's the timing. As referenced before, we recognize that the dwelling units won't come before January 1 of 2027. That does not preclude the development of the on-site and potentially off-site improvements that need to be done to prepare for the home building. That's going to be needed to take into consideration as they talk about especially the off-site road improvements. We're looking at potential closure of Rockville Road. The timing of that can't be precise. And so we don't know exactly when the construction would start, right in 2027 for the new homes, or it could be delayed. Part of that is VDOT and Goochland County itself will have to take a look at is when is the correct time for the closing of Rockville Road in that area, and that's going to be a decision based upon a lot of other projects and activity that's occurring within the area. As you know, that quadrant, that traffic shed is getting ready to experience a lot of road improvements over the next 2 to 3 years beginning. Then finally, in our staff report, it is noted that there was some formatting issues and some minor grammatical corrections that need to be done prior to these proffers going forward to the board. I did lay those out inside all the staff comments. Some of them is like add a S to the word section. There was some formatting issues that the applicant will acknowledge to their proffers, especially proffer 3. So those don't really affect the context or content that's in the proffers, but staff would advise that should you make a recommendation of approval, then perhaps we could recommend that we modify in accordance to those standards. So I can go through the individual proffers if you like, and of course I'm here available for any questions. The applicant is here as well for a presentation.
Questions?
Just to be clear, the 35-foot buffer on the south of this large property, those are on private land right now. The
one that's what's south of this development in Tuckahoe Bridge,
right.
That 35-foot buffer is within an open space maintained by an HOA.
Oh, I thought you said it's going to be on their own. On their
What's
land.
being proposed by the applicant here for Highfield and within their
on
lot,
Highfield,
those will
yes.
be, yeah,
Right.
okay, I'm sorry,
Okay.
misunderstood.
But the 100-foot buffer along Rockville Road and the 150-foot buffer along I-64, those are on green. Those are green space for the.
Right,
Okay,
yeah,
those are
open
not
space.
part of anybody's lots.
Right.
Thank you.
You also mentioned in terms of the left-hand, the left turn lane, waiver, not being able to take place, of course, until, or if they get that worked out with the current landowner.
Mhm.
So if that doesn't happen, then that's a whole nother situation that the county has to deal with or work with, correct?
Well, right. Well, so what we'll look at is that essentially we'll have the right turn lane, And there will be a left turn lane at the northernmost entrance, left turn lane. And there is also a left turn lane that goes into Tucko Bridge section itself as well. So what we end up is the central, the one that's sort of the middle of the three entrances on Rockville Road, will not have a left turn lane, but there will be right lane improvements. And that may be able to explain better by the applicant and their engineer, as it's my understanding it's really part of all the improvements that you saw were grinding the road down, and the new shift of the road lanes over is to be able to keep that alignment, new road alignment coming down towards Tucko Bridge, and to be able to create that left. There's more right-of-way would be needed.
All right, thank you.
How long approximately would the road be closed? And are we talking complete closure? Are we talking one lane? Or can the residents of Tuckahoe Bridge, will they be able to access it that way, or will they have to go around? I guess, what's the parameters?
Yeah,
of
so
road closure?
again, the Tucko Bridge residents currently can't go left out of their development. So the right turn movement should be preserved, or they have to find, or we'll have to build another constructed entrance to bring them further down Rockville Road. That would have to be part of the evaluation of the road closure, how it occurs. It's my understanding 3 to 4 months of the work. Different phases of it may allow the road to be open at different stages and the like. That'll be part of the construction evaluation. But the estimate, if I was hearing originally, is probably outside 4 months, but you never know with weather conditions and the like. And so that'll be something that needs to be considered by us and VDOT as well, of how that functions. So VDOT understands the road improvements come in, they're accepting the exact closure times and how the closure occurred would be part of the full development process for that.
Thank you. I have one more question. Slide 15, there was section C. It said existing trees to be removed.
We're gonna try to map it back. Oh, it's not bumping back. Describe the slide to me.
So if you picture it. I feel like Sophia on, picture it.
Yeah.
So it was, maybe,
It's weird.
yeah.
Okay, so tell me what you saw
Yeah,
when you saw it.
there were three pictures,
Three different
A, B,
versions.
C.
Mhm.
Yes, it said existing trees to be removed.
Mhm.
That was on the other side of the proposed high fields, correct?
That's on the right opposite side of the road for Rockville Road.
So we remove the trees and then VDOT maintains all of that and keeps it cut down and nice and,
Well, see, it's within right-of-way, as you can see, a lot of roads within Goochland County, it's existing old right-of-ways. VDOT doesn't come and clear the trees
okay.
for those areas until there's certain, a complaint or something that arrives. We recognize in this scenario, it's been a long time. The applicant has shared is basically, they heard the visibility concerns for that area, so they would be, and pruning likely in some parts of the area, but I believe the area close to South 64, it's going to be a full clearing of the area within the right-of-way. So part of that, if it needs to be made long-term within the right-of-way bounds, VDOT would be responsible for that.
Thank you.
So there are going to be obviously some improvements where the project will take place, but will VDOT do any improvements themselves to the road in the future?
So that's, how it goes into their overall work plans, or if the county has a project that's requested to do for there. It's my understanding at this point, they've made their safety study recommendations, not recommended improvements outside of that to the road itself. There were some minor signage and speed adjustments for the area of the Tucko Bridge entrance that were done last year when there was a problem recognized with that. The VDOT safety study itself has some different recommendations, but again, none of those are related to expanding pavement, changing speed limit, overall the road, or anything like that. So I do not anticipate any improvements in this road area for quite some time for VDOT. Like we've seen with other developments recent years, such Fairgrounds Road, and those two developments we have there, to include additionally Breeze Hill and the like. Typically, we've seen road improvements come in with development versus when VDOT would do certain improvements outside of major projects or major pavement failures and the like.
Thank you. Any other questions for staff? Thank you, Mr. Cash.
Okay, the applicant.
We'll now hear from the applicant.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the commission, my name is Natalie Croft with Eagle Construction, here on behalf of the applicant, Markel Eagle. Our rezoning request is for a 138-acre property on Rockville we're calling Highfield. The property is located within the Tuckahoe Creek Service District and within the Centerville Village. The county's comprehensive plan identifies Centerville Village as a designated major growth area and major village, an area where utilities are available and new development should be encouraged and concentrated. The plan directs new development to these areas in order to preserve the rural character of the county. For this property, single-family residential medium density is recommended, with prime economic, industrial, and other non-residential uses along the eastern line of Rockville toward the Hanover County line. We started planning and designing Highfield nearly 3 years ago, pausing at staff's request during the small area planning process. We initially presented a neighborhood of 199 detached homes with a single entrance on Rockville Road. The two biggest comments we heard from the community at that meeting were, keep the density consistent with the comp plan and make Rockville Road safer. Based on this feedback, our number of homes now aligns with the comp plan's recommended density as confirmed by staff. The 21 lots in the westernmost portion of the site are between 1 and 3 acres in size. Coupled with the wide, undisturbed floodplain, they provide a smooth transition to the rural enhancement area to the west. All of our new homes will include fire suppression, and we've proffered high-quality architectural materials and style with craftsman or traditional detailing and design elements. Entry features along Rockville and at the Osborne Ridge Road transition have also been proffered and include brick columns and black split rail fencing. The enhanced landscaping against lots in Tuckahoe Bridge North, wider rights-of-way allowing parking on both sides of the street have also been proffered. No home will be constructed until 2027, with only 40 building permit applications submitted in any calendar year. The construction entrance for development will be from Rockville Road. The biggest change to the internal layout was the addition of a second point of access on Rockville Road. This access point is not required, as confirmed by VDOT and county staff in April of 2024. It was important to the community, so we explored the request. It's currently designed with right-in, right-out access only. A left turn lane in from Rockville Road does in fact meet spacing standards, but what we don't have is the adequate right-of-way width. Additional right-of-way width is needed from the Tuckahoe Bridge 100-foot buffer along Rockville Road. And as Mr. Cash noted, because this buffer was proffered with that rezoning case, an amendment to that case is needed to reduce the buffer. We've proffered that if the necessary area and the county approvals to construct the turn lane are secured, we will build it with our other roadway improvements. We are already pursuing this with the property owner, but have not received a response. We've created more internal connectivity within Highfield and more direct, more efficient routing through our own neighborhood to Rockville Road. We redesigned the required connection to the Osborne Ridge Road stub. The new layout is designed so Osborne Ridge Road is simply a short link between two separate through roads within each neighborhood, achieving the connectivity required by VDOT and county, but also minimizing the potential for unnecessary through traffic between neighborhoods. The county's capital impact model has calculated our proffer to be $9,810 per dwelling, which we have voluntarily proffered. Rockville Road is listed in the county's major thoroughfare plan as a minor collector road, with a recommended upgrade to a major collector road. Our proffered improvements to Rockville involve the overall corridor, not just along our frontage. Improving sight distance, widening the roadways, installing turn lanes, implementing VDOT's safety recommendations, and most significantly, the regrading and reconstructing of almost half a mile of Rockville Road. One of the biggest impacts to improving sight distance and safety on Rockville is our commitment to regrade the shoulder and clear trees along the northern line of Rockville, south of the interstate. This is not on the Highfield side. We have an agreement with that property owner to be able to do that work. This improvement will open up the line of sight all the way from the interstate bridge to the Highfield entrance. Motorists on Rockville Road coming over the bridge will be able to see the full extent of the curve, and motorists exiting Highfield will be able to see any oncoming traffic all the way to the bridge. This is Rockville Road today, coming over the interstate looking toward Highfield. The trees that you see on the left-hand side are the trees that will be cleared, opening up the line of sight all the way to the Highfield entrance. So this is really the before picture. And this is a rendering of the after picture. Wide open line of sight all the way from the entrance to the bridge. The entrance location will be 4 lanes wide due to turn lane configurations, plus a paved shoulder, plus a 100-foot buffer. This creates a much wider, clear recovery zone with no trees on the outside of the curve. The image on the top shows the existing conditions once you've crossed over the bridge, heading toward Ashland Road. Narrow pavement width, steep, narrow shoulders, and large trees on both sides of the road. The image on the bottom shows the improvements we are proposing. We have a much wider pavement section, as well as the paved shoulder. The 100-foot buffer along Rockville will include a black rail fence pushed back off the road, with the landscaping set back even farther. This opens up the view sheds, providing a flat, wide recovery zone. These improvements are carried through beyond our property's frontage and will tie into the Tuckahoe Bridge roadway improvements. This is a view at our main entrance, showing a pavement width again of 4 lanes, plus the paved shoulder and the 100-foot buffer. And further down Rockville Road, here's a view between our 2 entrances on Rockville. So as I mentioned, the most significant improvement is our commitment to regrade and reconstruct nearly a half mile of Rockville Road to remove the 2 knolls and fill the corresponding sag, creating one gentle, smooth hill and eliminating the roller coaster effect. So the orange areas are the 2 knolls we're removing, and the green shaded areas is where we're filling. This reconstruction also greatly improves sight distance for motorists turning left into Tuckahoe Bridge. The sight distance at the entrance to Tuckahoe Bridge North is improved from 815 feet shown by the red line to 1,000 feet shown by the blue line. This road reconstruction is estimated to take 3 to 4 months. The staff report notes that the timing of this road closure should be considered in relation to the Hockett Road realignment and the Ashland 64 projects. Our road improvements are proffered to be done before any home construction will start, and we anticipate and are on track currently for the improvements to be completed next summer in 2026. The Hockett Road realignment project is scheduled to start construction in 28, 2 years after our improvements are complete. And the Ashland Road 64 interchange project is scheduled to start construction in the fall of 26, after other improvements have already been completed. Our improvements here shown in yellow will not overlap with any of the construction phases of the other roadway projects in this corridor and will occur after various Ashland Road improvements have already been completed. With no building permit applications submitted until 27 and a limit of 40 building permit applications submitted in any calendar year, this will prevent a rush of new homes and instead slowly add residents and the associated vehicular trips. The staff report confirms that this project complies with the fire code. There is a concern about the distance between our 2 entrances if a situation were to arise where they are both blocked. In this event, a 3rd route into Highfield is provided through Tuckahoe Bridge North via Osborne Ridge Road. as required by VDOT and county ordinance. While this route into Highfield is available, we don't anticipate Highfield traffic using the Tuckahoe Bridge entrance to access their own homes. Our traffic engineer studied travel times and found that it's significantly quicker for all but maybe 5 of the Highfield lots to utilize the Highfield main entrance to get to their homes. Public safety comments in the staff report emphasize the need for improvements to Rockville Road, specifically citing blind curves, limited shoulders, and a blind hill to the north of the Tuckahoe Bridge entrance, as well as the accident history, noting that nearly half of the tragedies on Rockville Road have occurred in the vicinity of Highfield and its main entrance. Road improvements are necessary to address safety concerns. While the most recent tragedy occurred over 10 years ago, accidents continue to happen on Rockville Road. The blind curve coming off the interstate bridge is still a blind curve. It still has narrow and steep shoulders lined with large, mature trees, as VDOT calls them, fixed objects. The blind hill to the north of the Tuckahoe Bridge entrance is still a blind hill. So what is the plan to improve the safety of Rockville Road? There is no plan. The only plan for real, tangible, effective improvements is the plan that we are proposing this evening. Our plan focuses the improvements to the area that has been cited by our fire chief and by the community as being the most critical. That blind curve will be no more. As we've shown, views will be wide open, the narrow, steep shoulders will be regraded, and the large trees on both the inside and the outside of the curve will be removed. That blind hill that is specifically referenced north of the Tuckahoe Bridge entrance will be no more. We are cutting it down by 3 feet, filling the sag and cutting down the next hill as well, opening up sight lines by just about 200 feet. Elsewhere along the corridor, we're implementing every single one of VDOT's recommended improvements to the Rockville Road right-of-way in their 2024 safety study, from Ashland Road all the way to Pouncey Tract Road, not just in front of our property. We're also regrading the right-of-way at the corner of St. Matthews and Rockville to allow greater sight distance there. We heard it loud and clear from the community as well as from our fire chief. Rockville Road in its present condition is not safe. That's why we have committed to improving the entire corridor, and we are not asking for a single home over the recommended density in order to do it. Other benefits to the county and its residents include the extension of 5,000 linear feet of oversized 16-inch water line to our site from Ashland Road. This unlocks public utilities to the prime economic development site across Rockville, checking that box for the marketing and future development of that key property. This not only provides the actual infrastructure, but also generates additional TCSD tax revenue by developing vacant properties already located in the TCSD. In closing, we heard respect the comp plan density and improve the safety of Rockville Road as the 2 overarching biggest citizen comments. We believe we've done just that and more. We respectfully request your recommendation of approval tonight. I'm happy to answer any questions. I know there's a lot of information on these slides. Our engineers are here, civil engineer, traffic engineer. We want to dive into these questions if you have them. We want to look at the information closer if you'd like to. Thank you again for this evening.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the commission? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
We will now have citizen comment, and we ask, as we did with the previous comment section, that you keep it to 3 minutes. Excuse me. So therefore, when you come forward, please state your name and your address. Also, of course, watch those lights, so when the light turns green, you are ready to speak. When it turns yellow, you have 1 minute, and when it turns red, then your time has expired. If you are coming forward to give your time to someone else, or if there's one person who will do the speaking for your particular faction or group, let us know that as well, that you will defer your time to them. Thank you. Any citizen comments? Yes.
Yeah.
My name is Spencer Smith. I live in 15692 Mosaic Creek Boulevard in Mannequin, Sabbath.
Okay.
The Gettysburg Address made very famous a phrase, of, by, and for the people. That came from John Wycliffe, who translated the Bible into English and said that in the Bible, that was the form of government that God approved. And that Bible was taken by the Pilgrims to the United States and became the basis of the first written document whereby the people controlled their destiny. The Fundamental Orders of Connecticut, which became the first Constitution of the state of Connecticut, which became the federal Constitution, which became everybody's Constitution, which is your Constitution. Of, by, and for the people. I received a letter from Goochland County Department of Fire and Rescue from Dillard Ferguson to Ray Cash, the Assistant Director of Goochland County Community Development. This is what he said. As the Fire Rescue Chief and a representative of community safety, I do not support the Highfield development or any other development of comparable size on Rockville Road for road safety reasons. Well, anybody, any government who is of, by, and for the people, who has this statement in their own government saying that this is a terrible idea, and you ride on Rockville Road and you see white crosses bolted to trees, this whole development has to be canceled. I mean, it's just, there's no basis for a government of, by, and for the people to do such a crazy thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Someone else?
Larry Barker, 2170 Mannequin Road, Mannequin, Sabbath, Virginia. Markel Eagle has met with us several times as a group of concerned citizens. There's nothing personal against Markel Eagle. John Doe could be applying for this 138 house subdivision. Same issues and problems would still apply. Chief Ferguson has sent his report to county staff, and I would like to quickly highlight some of fire rescue concerns. Rockville Road is the most dangerous road in the county, not an interstate. There have been 7 fatal accidents over the years, with 3 of them at the proposed entrance to Highfield, which they talked about. The proposed development has the potential to generate 60 fire rescue incidents annually. With Station 9 currently on hold, the added call volume could strain current available staffing. The amount of additional traffic produced by the new subdivisions will make the intersection of Rockville Road and Ashland Road a failed intersection sooner. I would also like to add a few more numbers. From 2019 to 2023, there were 28 accidents on Goochland portion of Rockville Road. That's a 2.5-mile section of road. The time frame is before Tuckahoe Bridge North and involves local traffic between Rockville and Ashland Road. For 2024, there were 8 accidents, with 6 of them involving injuries. And so far in 2025, there have been 4 accidents, with 2 of them involving injuries. This is happening before the approximately 1,400 vehicles a day from Highfield is added to the mix. Add another almost 500 vehicles a day from Tuckahoe Bridge North, and it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out what is going to happen. There's a reason Rockville Road is the most dangerous road in the county. It is just an old country road. being proactive in improving Rockville Road entirely to accommodate new subdivisions and all of the additional traffic before the subdivisions are approved makes the most sense. You cannot be reactive and approve subdivisions and then figure out that the road won't handle the traffic. Public safety should be the top priority above all else. That includes safety for the residents, safety for the sheriff's deputies, and fire rescue personnel responding to calls. If you haven't traveled Rockville Road before, it would be hard to understand the concerns of all involved. You need to travel it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Yes, my name's Skip Mann. I'm at 2137 Tuckahoe Bridge Drive. I'm deferring my time to John DeTore.
My name is John DeTore. I live at 2130 Tuckahoe Bridge Drive, Mannequin-Sabat. That is in Tuckahoe Bridge, Section 1. Mr. Chairman, members of the Planning Commission, I have to say in Tuckahoe Bridge, we're feeling a bit overwhelmed these days. We've got Mannequin Town Center that is being developed. Rumors of Sycamore Creek Golf Course that may be developed. Personally, I'd like to see that stay a golf course, maybe bought by the county or turned into parkland, but that's discussion for another day. We have on the other side of us, Main Street Homes, looking at 123 lots on 123 acres. And of course, what's in front of you tonight, what's in front of all of us tonight is the Highfield development, 138 homes on 138 acres. And so if I had three wishes to kind of address the overwhelming feeling that we're having right now, the first would be for the applicant, and that would be for the applicant to recognize that there probably is a path to yes, we're just not there yet. The applicant says that 138 homes on 138 acres is similar to Tuckahoe Bridge. By the high-level math, it is, but by the applicant's own admission, only half the homes are 15,000 square feet or above. 15,000 square feet lots are about 0.34 acres. There's no lot in Tuckahoe Bridge that's smaller than 0.35 acres, which means 40 to 50% of the applicant's homes are between 0.2 and 0.25 acres, which is nowhere near similar to Tuckahoe Bridge. So the density is quite a bit higher, and 40 to 50% of the applicant's homes there. So I think the density is higher. Recognize the applicant has proffered conditions on Rockville Road there, which will make it safer for that half of Rockville Road, where the applicant has proffered conditions to address the road. From the Tuckahoe Bridge entrance to Asheville Road in the other direction, nothing is proffered there, and that's a dangerous road. We haven't even started talking about the Rockville Opportunity Corridor and Amazon and the Axial Warehouse. That's going to add a lot of traffic on Rockville Road, as well as Ashland Road there. And nothing is proffered there, and so that will remain a dangerous part of the road. So my second wish would be for you as the Planning Commission, and that is, I think it was a year, maybe a year and a half ago or so, we came and the community said we were pretty much against the Centerville Village Plan, which is eventually voted down. We didn't leave you in good hands because that leaves you with the Goochland Comprehensive Plan to deal with. So my wish is you recognize all of those development activity that I just mentioned, Mannequin Town Center and Main Street Homes and the Highfield here. Leaving you without a plan is a task. We recognize that. You don't have the Centerville Village Plan. Take a close look at that Goochland Comprehensive Plan and this Highfield Plan and recognize there's going to be more coming. Do your best to address all of those, even though you'll be voting on one tonight. My third would be for the community at large, myself included. I'm in Tuckahoe Bridge, Section 1. I absolutely love it there. My wish for the community would be that we recognize that appropriate growth can be good growth. I'm there. I'm part of that growth. I think it was good growth, and I recognize that all of those things that I talked about will be addressed by you, Mannequin Town Center and Main Street and Highfield here. Take a look at what you feel, what you would say is appropriate growth, good growth. Tuckahoe Bridge Section 1 and 2 was recognized as good growth, and base your decision on that as well, and hopefully the community will support you. I don't feel we're there yet with the proposal for the Highfield development, and respectfully request that you deny the current application as it's submitted. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Michelle Williamson. I live at 2262 Wheatlands Drive, Mannequin Sabbath, giving my time to my other half.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Rob Williamson. I live at 2262 Wheatlands Drive, Mannequin Sabbath. So the big question is, does this zoning request demonstrate public necessity, convenience, general welfare, or good zoning practices? The developer's main claim to fame in this project is that it meets the medium density guideline of the comp plan. Well, this guideline assumes that the golf course remains recreational until 2040 and the transportation improvements keep pace with development, neither of which is happening. There's more to the comp plan than just medium density. It goes on to say, as a matter of policy, reduce density along the fringes, and this property is at the fringe between the village and farmland currently. Okay? So that means medium density, less than medium density is warranted in these fringe properties. Is it good practice to approve a project when your fire and rescue professionals have issues which are unaddressed? And we heard about not meeting the fire code for separation of entrances, and is there a waiver for turn lanes and et cetera? Is that part of good practice? But the fire marshal also goes on to say there are issues with Tuckahoe Bridge entrance. And they're going to a lot of trouble to fix humps in the road for Tuckahoe Bridge. But they said there's already 850 feet of visual line. It's only required to have 500. The issue at Tuckahoe Bridge is not those two humps. It's the entrance, the hump at the entrance. It's blind from opposite directions until you're headed into Tuckahoe Bridge and you've committed to the turn. That's the issue with Tuckahoe Bridge, not these humps down the road. Okay? Now, the staff alluded to their road improvements on Ashland Road and these improvements on Rockville Road. But there are no improvements scheduled for the Rockville Road, Ashland Road intersection, which the fire marshal also pointed out is problematic. In addition to that, the major thoroughfare plan says that Rockville Road and Ashland Roads are problematic and that the intersection between the two is failing. Okay. So even the Highfield traffic study said Rockville Road on the Ashland Road is no surprise. The left turn movement is expected to operate with long delays during peak hours. That's only one of the issues. Highfield's over 1,000 plus daily trips will only add to the probability of more crashes at either Tuckahoe Bridge North's blind entrance that I described or the failed intersection at Ashland Road. Both are clear and present dangers to our first responders and the traveling public. As long as Rockville Road improvements are low priority, which the main thoroughfare plan has them as long-term improvements, which means low, and they're not part of any current ongoing improvements on Ashland Road. So as long as that Rockville Road and the intersection with Ashland Road is low priority, development should be low density. So again, does this zoning request demonstrate public necessity, convenience, general welfare, or good zoning practices? For public necessity, do we need more residential? No, as part of our goal for 70-30 split between residential and economic development, we're closer to 80-20. So we need more economic development and less residential. Convenience, with over 1,000 new vehicle trips per day on the Rockville Road, St. Matthews, and Ashland Roads, there will be no convenience in driving. General welfare, no matter how good their road and frontage improvements are, putting over 1,000 more vehicle trips per day into failing intersections at Broad and Ashland Roads is no benefit to any resident or the county. So in conclusion, The summary to the answers to the question is no, 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 and no. Therefore, please vote no. Thank you.
Thank you.
Reagan Davidson, 1895 Greenbrier Branch. I came up here tonight, I had no plan to speak, so, but I do have the concern with the Ashland Road interchange because my daughter lives on this road with her mom. Even though we're not together, they're still family. And I'd like to see my daughter live. So, please consider that. And all the rest of the stuff, I'm not getting into. Hope my kid lives.
Thank you.
I'm Linda Miller, and I'm giving my time to my husband.
Thank you.
I'm Gene Miller. Linda and I live at 2351 Rockville Road since 1987. And I thought I came prepared. I really did until I heard the presentation by the lady from the developer. And there's things that have been changed in there and a lot of just rhetoric thrown about. But then she asked for questions. And there weren't any from anybody. So I guess we're to assume that you're really all up to speed on everything she brought up. Every little piece of it, every little, how it affects residents in that immediate area, how it's going to affect commuters from Hanover coming down through that area, how that's all going to, we have to assume that you're all really up and prepared to make this vote after you hear everybody tonight. Lynn and I have a lot of thoughts and concerns about this. We have only one personal complaint with this proposed development, and it's grounded on the idea of closing Rockville Road. And I have down here 3 months because I heard 2 to 3. Now I heard 3 to 4. In fact, I heard a blip of 5 tonight. So, using the directions feature on Google Maps, we determine the time and distance in miles to a daily point of travel. In my case, Rockville Road, past all this hoopla, to Food Lion, or to Ashland Road and Wells Fargo, or to the interstate ramp. That's kind of a basic travel point. We time and distance right now. Then we did the same with time and distance using a very common app with a detour, the most practical detour, which in our case would be north on Rockville Road, left on Echo Meadow, left on Mannequin, back to Broad at Satterwhite's, and we're back into the ballgame again. Now, using vehicle efficiency data, in our case 20 miles per gallon according to the United States, and the cost of regular fuel at $3, we calculated our fuel costs without the detour, fuel costs, without the detour and with the detour. Now we have this saying that you've probably all heard for quite a while. It's the short trips that add up. Emphasizes that seemingly insignificant small journeys can have a cumulative impact, cumulative impact. Should a majority of you cast a yea vote to advance this proposal, you will be advancing the possibility of financially burdening Linda and I a minimum, and I'd have to do the math all over again after hearing the months, a minimum of $248.50. That's the extra amount of gas to take the detour, the extra amount of gas. This represents the additional fuel costs for those 92 days, 31, 31, 30. I had 3 months, right? Now we have to recalculate that all over again. It will also penalize us by requiring Lynn and I to travel in our personal vehicle an additional 58 hours over a 92-day period. That's what a 3-month detour would do. 58 hours. How many days is that? That's additional travel time. And I gave you the costs of the gas. You will be imposing these burdens and penalties so that the developer can butcher the rural character of our county's northeastern gateway, so that they can overburden EMS and fire departments with 138 more households to protect, and so that they can significantly improve and safely travel of less than a quarter of a mile of Rockville Road by constructing 2 more traffic intersections in this short distance. And if you heard about all those turn lane and you understand all that and how that's going to work, bless your hearts. Please give serious consideration to our message. Please help us avoid this financial burden and penalty. $248, that's 3 months. 58 hours additional traveling time, not appreciating an automobile and all that. Lynn and I urge you to vote no on this proposal. Thank you. We don't need a recovery zone where we live.
Thank you.
My name is Patricia Handy, and I live at 2337 Wheatlands Drive, Mannequin Sabbath. This vote you're going to make, it's an easy one. Chief Ferguson is the man who has protected our lives. He protected our house when it caught on fire, a fire that spread from one house 2 doors down to our house on the roof. And he came back after midnight to make sure it was out. He also is the one who attended those departed souls on Rockville Road. It's his duty that he swore that he would protect us, he would serve us, and he has. And he recommends we don't do this. It would be an insult to him to permit Highfield to build in there where our safety officer, who served us for so many years, said, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. And the other thing I want to say is, this is a visioning problem. You have to imagine what Centerville is going to be like after they take the trees out, shave the hills down like they said they were going to do at Tuckahoe Bridge, but it's still not safe. What's it going to be like with all this traffic in the fulfillment center trucks and all the new building that's going to happen? It's not rural. It's not Goochland. It's not our image. You're going to transfigure Goochland County. And if you're representing the people, you know where we stand. We like it here. We want graceful growth. That's what our district voted for. And we hope that you will sustain that in a graceful way. This isn't it. Please honor our safety officer. I stand with him. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Mabel Weaver, and I'm yielding my time to Linda Moore. I live at 584 Fed Lane, Mannequin Sabbath.
Linda Moore, 2164 Prophet Road, Mannequin Sabbath. Up on the screen is the map of the proposed development. I just don't see how 138 more homes on top of the 49. I did the math, and it's like 187 more homes on that small piece of section of it. Yes, we feel that homes could be built there, but not to this higher density. We would be happy with 49 homes on that one entrance, and not this concoction of access points versus, a left turn, right turn. A respectful 49 homes on one entrance, okay? That is what it is in Tuckahoe Bridge. It was 49 homes on each side for one entrance. And even with that, the Rockville roadside has all kinds of issues at that entrance. Those people did not expect this to happen when they bought their home. They were provided the opportunity to meet on the Mannequin Road to see their development. They had no idea once they purchased their home that this was going to happen to them. Also, I'm concerned with the school buses being able to get into those development. Right now, the school bus does not enter into a Mannequin, to the Rockville roadside, into the development. Adding that additional one, and now you've got the right-hand turn, it's just not a good thing for the bus safety, okay? Until that disaster, and I'm going to call it a disaster, at Tuckahoe Bridge is resolved, those school children are not allowed to get to the bus, okay? I know my time is out. I hope you will consider that the schools have not weighed in on this, and there is no bus stop for the Tuckahoe Bridge North. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Moore.
Hello, my name is Stephen Shorrock. I live at 12201 Bremner Ridge Circle, and I've been sitting here with some prepared remarks and scratching out the vast majority of it because it's already been covered. I do want to ask why this very important fire letter from Ed Ferguson, why was that not presented to the board as part of the remarks in the first place? Why is it that we have citizens bringing this issue up? I don't want to just bypass all the issues about traffic, but as you already heard, Rob has done a very good job of explaining all that. So this very well may be one of the smaller issues that we have here, but these are really not 1 acre lots. Yes, it's 138 acres. This is back before it was when it was politically correct, before political correctness, it used to be called swampland. Okay, this stuff it's really not 1 acre lots. It's not like Tuckahoe Bridge. It's further out from the center. As Rob mentioned, it's supposed to be as you go out more of the fringe, and it's really not keeping in. And this all seems like deja vu. I know a lot of you are new to the board, but I'll bet a lot of you have been at these meetings in the past. And when Tuckahoe Bridge was proposed, there were a lot of opposition. There was tremendous amount of work that had to be done by the citizens just to make sure that their communities were being protected. Hundreds of hours of research and work. If you take all the emails that went back and forth and multiply it by all the recipients that got those emails, we're talking about thousands. And here we are again, something that the community really doesn't want. What I would request is to defer this decision and have a smaller number of homes be presented. And I do recognize there was some tremendous improvements that are being proposed by Eagle, but it really doesn't, the problems are really way off the Eagle property, not all of them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would it be possible for Chief Ferguson to come up and kind of talk a little bit about the letter or do we need to close? Okay, close public hearing.
I'm now close the public hearing.
Sorry about that. Would it be possible for Chief Ferguson to come up and kind of talk through the different points that he made in the letter? Since your name's come up several times.
I believe it has. Thank you. So I'm Eddie Ferguson, the Fire Rescue Chief for Goochland County. I'm joined tonight by Fire Marshal Doug Davies and Mr. Chair, members of the Planning Commission. Certainly, I've submitted a letter. The letter actually went through Community Development was addressed to Mr. Ray Cash, and that letter has made its way through all the processes, and it's in your packet as well. I certainly could and would prefer to stick to my comments that I've written in this letter for consistency and to be sure that I represent fairly what I have wanted to say about this. However, I would be more than glad to entertain any type of questions that you may have. And I would just like to say that Mrs. Croft and Markel Eagle has been really good to work with, and they've been very professional, and they have met with us on several occasions, and I don't believe that my letter that I submitted would be any surprise to them or anyone else that had been in those meetings with me. We certainly, as Fire Rescue Chief, I'm also the fire official for the county, which pretty much comes down to ensure that the Virginia Statewide Fire Prevention Code is always met with new development as well as existing development in the county, particularly commercial, as well as residential in the beginning. But in addition to that, once those concerns have been satisfied as the Fire Rescue Chief, I also have a community safety job to do. And so it is my job to give you what I believe is safe and is not safe for our community. And I've certainly tried to do that in a fair and objective way. And I think it is important to note that this is not particular to Markel Eagle's development on Rockville Road. And I had written in my letter, as well as it has been said here earlier tonight, that my comments would also apply to any development on Rockville Road of similar size. The capacity of the road, in my opinion, there are safety issues to be addressed, as well as there are some fire code concerns with the proposed development, but certainly I would be glad to answer any questions that you would have about any of those.
Thank you. Are there any questions?
Fire suppression.
Yes, ma'am.
In all of those homes.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you guys go in yearly and check those out and make sure they're up to code and they're good to go? Or how does that work with residential?
That's a good question. What's been proffered is 138 homes with residential sprinkler systems in those homes, which do make those homes safer, absolutely make those homes safer. And so Fire Marshal Doug Davies handles all of our inspections and is our subject matter technical expert on the fire code. And I'm going to let Fire Marshal Davies answer that question for you.
Chairman, members of the commission, how are you this evening? To answer your question, once the systems are in place and installed, I, as the fire code enforcer of the county, will not do inspections of those private residences to make sure they're maintained. We do that in commercial developments, but we do not have the authority to do that in a single-family dwelling. So it would be up to the homeowner to maintain those systems on their own.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions?
Chief Ferguson.
Yes, sir.
I understand your opinion of the, of Rockville Road is that with a load like this, nearly 1,400 trips per day, that it's going to be more dangerous than it already is on Rockville Road. I believe that's your opinion, is that right?
Yes, the additional traffic load added to the existing Rockville Road in its present condition.
Yeah.
And certainly, it's the entire section of Rockville Road. I think it's admirable on the part of the developer that wants to do those improvements in front of their development, but it doesn't address the entire situation, the distance of Rockville Road. And yes, I am concerned about the safety that, the safety issues that are there today, as well as those that could result from the additional traffic on Rockville Road and how it may impact not only that road, but the intersections that I've cited in the letter I provided you as well.
Help me out here, because what I've been told is that Virginia Department of Transportation has come out and said that only minor changes are required to make it safe. And I'm struggling with weighing your opinion against their expert advice. I mean, help me understand why I should consider yours above theirs.
Well, I think I have to be careful because the fire rescue department, we do not build roads. And we're also not responsible for the plan that VDOT has produced. As it's another county department that does that, that would be within community development. And so I would defer that question to the community development. What I can tell you is my experience over the many years of being in the fire rescue department and what I know about Rockville Road. That's what I can tell you. And I certainly don't want to go any deeper into that because certainly I want to be respectful for the situations that have occurred there on that road, the tragedies that have occurred, and I would defer to the community development staff anything relative to the VDOT report. I did read the report. I did note the way additional traffic will cause the intersection at Ashland Road and Rockville Road to fail sooner. That intersection is going to fail anyway, to be fair, based on just the growth and development and the additional traffic in the area. But I think it would be right of me and fair of me to defer your question to the Community Development Department.
Okay, one other question, if you would.
Absolutely.
I think your wording was that you would reject any development of this size on Rockville Road. Is there some size, some limit that you would feel comfortable with?
So we apply the county ordinances and the fire code fairly and objectively. And if a development that's being proposed, whether it's residential or commercial, meets the fire prevention code, then at that point it meets the fire prevention code. What I will tell you is I know of no other developments at this particular time that is being proposed on Rockville Road. I don't have a number in mind. I know that the development that's being proposed has got the potential, according to the comprehensive plan. When you look at the development, there's 138 homes. According to the Goochland County Comprehensive Plan in the eastern area of the county, that could be anywhere, that's roughly 2.39 people per home. And you do the math on that, it gives you 330 people. Again, we're not in the traffic business from the standpoint of roads and VDOT studies, and we're not experts in that by any means. So I'm not going to cite how many cars that would equate, but I certainly think that's been said, and you may already have that information as well. Certainly, we have used our predictive analytics to look at that. We basically look at that number of homes, and we come up with a number that we believe could be generated by fire and EMS incidents. And when you look at that using their formulas, then that's pretty much puts about 60 calls a year. Now, 60 calls a year is an encompassing number of calls that could be there in that development, or it could be somewhere else in the community because of the number of people that have been added to the community from that development. So I don't think I can give you that. We would look at any development that is presented before us in a fair and objective manner. While there could be similarities, they would be different and would be unfair to another developer or potentially Eagle for me to make a statement like that. And I would hope you'd respect that I would not do that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay?
Mr. Ferguson.
Yes, sir.
How long have you lived in Goochland County, and how long have you worked at the fire department?
Well, certainly don't want to show my age, but I'm old. So I've lived in Goochland County all my life, and I've been with the Fire Rescue Department either as a volunteer or as a career member for 43 years.
We appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate y'all's support and certainly appreciate the jobs that you do as well. It makes for that right balance in the community.
I do have one more quick
Yes, ma'am.
question, and I'm so sorry because I don't have
Oh, you're fine.
the letter in front of me. But there was something about the distances at the beginning of your letter that talked about that they weren't long enough, or, I'm
Right.
sorry,
And so this is and I'm going to let the fire marshal take this in more detail, but when you look at the Virginia Statewide Fire Prevention Code, there's Appendix D, and there's a remoteness standard in it. And what that basically is for is to look at the size of the development, and when multiple entrances are required, that the distance between those entrances are far enough apart so that the same emergency scene would be less likely to impact both at the same time. And when you look at that, the development has obviously proffered the residential sprinklers, which allows them that exception for the remoteness standard. However, from my perspective, their sprinklers are good. They're very good, actually. But in addition to that, then we still have to look at the number of people who live in the neighborhood, the ingress and egress in and out of the neighborhood if there's an emergency. And sometimes it's not for the fire engine. Sometimes it could be for the ambulance or another emergency vehicle that would need to go in and out. So I think based on the situation with the amount of road frontage that's there, the current condition of the road, and this is not just fire code, this is community safety standpoint, then I have concerns with the entrances and where they are and how close they are together. And I'll let the fire marshal give you those we have those numbers and be glad to provide them for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Were you interested in how the fire code reads
Yeah,
when it comes to remoteness?
The letter and I'm so sorry for being kind of aloof on this, but reading
That's
it, there was, the entrances were not far enough apart for your code or for your standards. Is that correct in what I
Well,
remember?
the fire code defines remoteness, and I'll just read from the code. It's real short. It says, where two fire apparatus access roads are required, they shall be placed a distance apart equal to not less than 1/2 of the length of the maximum overall diagonal dimension of the property or area to be served in a straight line. So on this property, the measurement for remoteness, so basically you take the property as a whole and you go to the farthest points on the property and you measure from point A to point B in a straight line. This measures out at 3,870 feet as the diagonal. So you times that by 0.5, which gives you 1,935 feet to meet the remotenesses. So the distances between the entrances on the main road leading into the property needs to be at 1,935 feet to meet remoteness. And on this property, the distance between the two entrances that were proposed, the last number I remember seeing was 740 feet between the entrances. So that's where remoteness figures in. Now, they came back and there's an exemption under Appendix D of the Fire Code that says if you 100% sprinkler every structure on the property, that you get an exemption from that remoteness. And that's where they came back with sprinkling the property.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. like to give the applicant a few moments to rebuttal if they so choose.
Thank you so much. When I came up here first, I think I just totally blanked and didn't introduce myself. So if that were the case, my name is Natalie Croft. Okay, good. I always panic at the end of that. So yeah, there's a lot to unpack here, a lot to rebut, quite frankly. I'd like to start with the Highfield-Tuckahoe Bridge comparison that seems to be happening a lot. When Tuckahoe Bridge came in as a rezoning, it started with 157 lots on 98 acres. And it went from there to 123 lots on 98 acres and then approved at 98 lots on 98 acres. And in the presentation, in the minutes, staff notes, in quotes, they can either be consistent with the density of the comp plan or they can be consistent with the roads, but it's hard meshing the two. We're doing both. We're sticking with the comp plan density and we're doing the road improvements. It's not hard meshing the two for us, for this project. It was noted that public safety should be the highest priority. Rockville Road isn't getting any safer by doing nothing. And all of the comments that I've heard are looking at Rockville Road in its present condition, not in its condition after we do the massive, significant amount of roadway improvements. Talking about fire suppression, I think we've covered that. Two roads are not required when you have sprinklers in every single home. So we comply with the Virginia Fire Code. That's not a question. We comply with the Virginia Fire Code. Yes, a reconstruction of Rockville Road will make your trip to the grocery store take longer. It will disrupt for 3 months to 4 months, but it provides permanent, long-lasting improvement to the roadway. The concern is safety of the roadway. It's not getting safer, and there's no plan for safety improvements. I think that is, I do want to address real quick the school buses because that was interesting. I met with Rosa Holman, who is the Director of Transportation for Goochland County Public Schools. She indicated that the school buses don't go into Tuckahoe Bridge North right now because it's a construction zone, not because they don't plan on going in. She said that once the construction is complete, school buses, it's fully intended for them to go into the neighborhood. Meeting with her was very instrumental in learning more about school enrollment numbers and how they look at where to put bus stops. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions? Thank you.
Mr. Ferguson, if I would bother you one more time.
Yes, sir.
You have seen the renderings of what they plan to do and the improvements they plan to make to Rockville. When you're talking about your concern, I know you're factoring that in, but it's more than just that, right? Your concern goes beyond what they plan to improve.
Oh, absolutely, and I hope the statement that I made that it's not particular to Markel Eagle in any way, it would be anything of similar size, similarities. I would have similar concerns with, would certainly, and my comments stand as presented and as written, and I'm certainly aware of what's been proffered and have seen, and certainly acknowledge there are road improvements that are being proffered. But there are also a number of people and a number of vehicles that are being added to the road as well. And that's the balance that you have to figure out is what's more important and what is best for the situation. So,
Thanks.
thank you.
All right. Well, I'd like to make a motion. Based on the information that has been presented, what has been heard, what has been said, outstanding conditions per future development and expansion in the area. I so move that the commission on this day recommend denial of rezoning RZ 2024-00011 with proper conditions based on the information provided.
I second.
Is there any discussion? Being none, Ms.
Yeah, I'd like
Let's go ahead.
for the commission to have an opportunity to discuss if there's any. I personally, I'm very, I appreciate the improvements to the road that are going to be made if this is approved. And everybody who uses Rockville Road will eventually, in spite of the duration of the closure, will eventually benefit from that. And any improvement made to the road is going to cause that sort of downtime that will require detours. So that's very appealing to me. One of the things that troubles me, though, is the 138 building sites here. And when I look at this map, I mean, there's dozens of unbuildable space on this lot. And it makes me think of my neighboring property is over 30 acres with the realistic ability to build one house there. But by the math that we're doing right now, they would be able to build 30 houses on 30 tiny lots there. And anyway, so that's troubling to me. So I don't know. That's what's on my mind. I'm wondering what's on other people's minds in the commission.
Well, so I agree with you. I appreciate your comments. And I honestly can't think of a better company that could come in and improve Goochland, so we really do appreciate it. I can speak firsthand. They do a really great job, and they really care. I appreciate John's comments that, he's a part of the growth. He lives in Tuckahoe Bridge, and I appreciate that kind of statement. And that maybe now's not the best time. Maybe the community thinks that we're kind of putting the cart before the horse, as they say, and that the entirety kind of needs to be improved. I wonder what will happen across the street of this development. It's prime economic development. Wish there was a crystal ball. I'm sure at some point something's going to happen there. And maybe that development will be able to improve all of Rockville Road and where Rockville intersects with Ashland. I know y'all travel that, getting off of even 64 onto Ashland Road. It's a little tricky there, turning left anyway. So.
I also want to echo, I appreciate, John, what you were saying. That seems overwhelming. It does. It seems like it's an overwhelming amount of development. I think what Eagle has proposed is, I like it on a personal level. I think they have done everything that we have asked for. I just don't know if it's right now. Until we have infrastructure improvements, until we, figure out that Ashland area, until we figure out the Rockville-Ashland intersection. Again, I'm echoing kind of what Jess is saying. The quality of Eagle and their community partnership is not something that I want to take away from this. I just don't know if it's right now.
I agree. I think Eagle's done a lot of good work for the last, over 2 years that we've been doing this. But it just seems after 2 years, we're still trying to put a square peg in a round hole. And for that, I'd like to agree for denial.
All right, well, there's no further discussion. We have a motion and a properly second. Ms. Morton, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Kimberly?
No.
Mr. Patuk?
I'm voting for denial.
I'm sorry, I'm voting for denial. Yes, that's right.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much.
It's a yes for denial for you, Mr. Tuck? Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Cosby?
Okay. I'm voting yes for denial.
Ms. Kowalski?
Yes for denial.
Mr. McLaughlin?
Yes for denial.
The motion to recommend denial passes on a 5-0 vote. This case is tentatively scheduled to be heard by the board on July 1st, 2025. It moves forward with a recommendation of denial from the Planning Commission. The affirmation date is subject to change.
Thank you. If there's no other business, this meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, kids.